Hi guys, welcome to Math 6. This is lesson 7-3 video, finding areas of trapezoids and kites. In this lesson, we'll be able to find areas of trapezoids and kites. Let's start with explain it. The European basketball key was changed from a trapezoid shape to a rectangle in 2010. The diagram shows the shape of the key before 2010, outlined in blue. Didn't know that they recently changed the basketball court from trapezoid to rectangle in 2010. So that's the foul line, and the key on a basketball court is the area between the foul line and the baseline. So this is the baseline. Okay. Let's look at part A. Construct arguments. Tim finds the area of the key by multiplying the base by the height. Does his strategy make sense? So if you look at the shape of the key, is this a parallelogram? Parallelogram has two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. We see one pair of parallel sides, but the other sides are not parallel. They're not parallel. So does that matter? We'll see. If you multiply 6, the base, times the height, what is the area you get? You'll probably get the area of the rectangle or the parallelogram that you have. Okay, you either get the area of this rectangle or you get the area of this parallelogram. Do you see that? It's either this area or that area. Yeah? So what are we missing? We need to add the area of these two triangles over here, right? So if it's a rectangle, we only got the area, Tim only got the area for that one. We need to add these two triangles on the side. If we imagine that we got the parallelogram over here, then it's still the same triangles that we didn't get, right? So his strategy doesn't make sense. So let's answer this question. No, multiplying multiplying 6 by 5.8 gives the area of a rectangle with the height of 5.8 meters and base of 6 meters. The two triangles on the side are not counted. Okay, so that's the problem of Tim's method of finding the area. So what do? Part B, how could Tim find the area of a trapezoid? By decomposing it into shapes he knows. What is the area of the key? So he already got the area of the rectangle. What is the area of, what could be the area of this triangle over here? Okay, if this whole thing is the base is 6, right? Base is 6 and the height is 5. Oh, so he added the area of the triangle. He added this whole thing, but he doesn't want these two triangles. Okay, let's change the answer. They have a rectangle. So triangles on triangles on top are not, or wait, the two triangles on the side are on top, wait, are the triangles on top are not needed. There you go. Okay. So what do we do? Well, think about it. We have a trapezoid that has a base of 6 and height of 5.8. But what's the measurement of the top base? 3.6. So if we cut this into rectangle like that, we can find the area of this rectangle. 3.6 times 5.8. And then we can find the area of these two triangles, which is going to make a rectangle. And 6 minus 3.6 is going to be these two distances together, right? So we can divide by 2 after we subtract 6 by 3.6. So 6 minus 3.6 is going to be 2.4. Okay, and so these two are 2.4. 2.4 divided by 2 is 1.2. So that's 1.2 and that's 1.2. You see that? So this is 1.2. Then the height is still 5.8. So the area of these two triangles that we didn't get is 1.2 times 5.8. Okay. So let's calculate that now. 3.6 times 5.8 is 20.88. Okay, so this rectangle is 20.88. And then 1.2 times 5.8 is 6.96. And so these two together is 6.96. Okay, so we're gonna add them. 20.88, what's the dimension? Meter square plus 6.96 meter square is 27.84 meter square. Okay, 27.84 meters square. There you go. So let's focus on math practices. How can you find the area of this kite? Do you recognize any figures that you already know how to find areas for? Yeah, the triangles, right? So the base of this triangle is 3, height is 8, and that's also the same triangle, identical triangle. And on top triangle, you have height is 4, base is 3. So for the top, you can find base times height for these two triangles. You can find the area of the rectangle, right? Base times height, so 3 times 4. Then for this one, you can also add the other triangle over here to get the rectangle. So this is also base times height, 3 times 8. And then you add them. 12 and 24, you add them and you get 36. How can we explain that? You can decompose, like separate the shapes, the kite into 2 identical triangles by drawing a vertical diagonal. The triangles have a base of 12 feet and a height of 3 feet. find the area of each triangle, then add them to find the area of the whole thing. All right, so we're gonna look at the these type of shapes, the kite and trapezoids. Okay, let's move on. So in this lesson, think about how we can find the areas of trapezoids and kites. Finding area of a trapezoid. So the pasture is in the shape of a trapezoid like this. What's the area of the pasture? So you're going to decompose the trapezoid into rectangles and triangles, and then figure out the area of the rectangle, then figure out the area of a triangle. And yes, there is an easy way. There is an equation for a trapezoid, but before that, we're gonna learn this way first so that you understand where the equation comes from. Okay, so the rectangle is length times width, and then you add the two triangles. Okay, half of base times height, but they're going to be identical triangles. So you can add 120 plus 24 plus 24, and that's 168. Okay. So let's look at try it number 1. How would you decompose this trapezoid to find its area? Decompose by yourself with familiar figures and see if you can find the area by yourself. Come back when you're ready. Okay, so one way you can decompose this into this triangle over here, where this part is 11.25 minus 6.25, right? And then this one is still 5 feet. So what's 11.25 minus 6.25? 5. So that part is just 5, and this part is 6.25. And the whole thing is 11.25. So then you can find the area of this rectangle, 5 times 6.25. Okay. To get 31.25. And then the area of this triangle, 5 times 5 divided by 2, which is 12.5. Okay. So you add them, 31.25 plus 12.5. You get 43.75 feet square. So let's explain how we got it. You can decompose the trapezoid into a rectangle, a right triangle, and then add the areas. So area of the rectangle is length times width, which is 6.25 times 5. So that's 31.25. Area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height, 1/2 times 5 plus 12.5. And so area of the trapezoid is 31.25 plus 12.5, which is equal to 43.75. There we go. Okay. Let's look at convince me. How is finding the area of the trapezoid in example 1 different from finding the area of the trapezoid in the triad? So how are they different? So this one, you find a rectangle and 2 triangles, but here you just need to find 1 triangle and a rectangle. But they're very similar. You have a rectangle and triangles, right? So in example 1, you find the area of two identical triangles in a rectangle. And to try it, you find the area of one triangle. Okay, let's look at the next page. Example 2. Find the area of a different trapezoid. A builder needs to cut one stone in the shape of a trapezoid to fit in the space. What is the area of the front side of that stone? This is another trapezoid example, right? So you can find the areas of the rectangles and the triangles and add the areas, and it's going to be 45 inches square. Okay, so decompose and find the area. But if you simplify the equation of the trapezoid, the equation of the trapezoid is going to be 12 plus 6. So you add the bases together, divided by 2, and then multiply by 5. But you'll learn that later. Okay. So let's look at example 3. Now we're going to find the area of a kite. A kite is a quadrilateral with two pairs of adjacent sides that are equal in length. So they're not opposite sides that are equal, but they're adjacent. They're right next to each other. These two are equal length. These two are equal length. That's a kite. So Jackson has a rectangular piece of cloth that has an area of 298 centimeters square. Does Jackson have enough cloth to make a kite? The kite shown. So he has a cloth of this area. We want to see if the kite is less than that, so that we know he has enough clothing, right? Cloth. But if the kite's area is greater than that, he doesn't have enough cloth to cover the kite. Okay, so decompose the kite as well into four triangles. Okay, two equal triangles, two pairs of equal triangles. So top part, you have height of 5 and base of 10. And you have 10 times 5, that's 50, divided by 2 is 25, but together they're 50. Okay, and then the triangle on the bottom, you have 10 times the whole thing is 30, but this height is gonna be 25, right? Yeah. So 10 times 25 is 250, divided by 2 is 125, but you have two triangles of 125s, so together it's 250. Okay, so this one again, that's 25, 25, but together it's 50. So together it's 300 square centimeters. Okay, so does he have enough cloth? No, he needs at least 2 more square centimeters of cloth. He does not have enough cloth. Okay, so after that, you need to compare them and then write your solution. Okay, let's look at try it question. Find the area of the trapezoid and the area of the kite here. Okay, see if you can find the areas of the trapezoid and the kite. First off, come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, are you ready? So the trapezoid, we're going to find the area of the rectangle, 12 times 8. That's 96. And the area of this triangle, 8 times 4 divided by 2, 16. And 16 over here. Add them up. Okay. So that's 96 plus 32, 128 centimeters square. Okay, what about part B? You have these two triangles that are identical. So 3 times 4 divided by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. That's 6 and that's 6. Together is 12. Okay, 6 times 3, 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 and 9 together is 18. So if you add 18 and 12, you get the area of 30 inches square. Okay. All right. We learned about trapezoids and kites and learned how to find the areas for both of them by decomposing it into familiar figures that we already know. So use the method of decomposing them to figure out the areas of kites and the trapezoid. All right, that was lesson 2. We'll continue with lesson 4, finding areas of polygons in the next video. Bye, guys.